Chapter 26. Yi. Qingshui Wharf was the only waterway port in the town of Qingshui. On regular days, it was always bustling with life, but ever since Sun Wuhan established Lu Shangxing, their business had plummeted. Most customers had shifted their loyalty to Sun, and only a handful of longtime patrons remained out of sentiment. Yushin knew that, at this rate, Qingshui Wharf wouldn't last much longer. But what he cared about the most wasn't the wharf itself, it was the dozens of men who had followed him faithfully for most of their lives. If Sun Wuhan could overlook past grievances and give these men a place, Yushin wouldn't mind handing over the wharf. The problem was, Sun Wuhan was known to be proud and rarely trusted outsiders. He had a personal elite guard of 100 men, the Blucloaks, all of whom were handpicked and rigorously trained. Like an impenetrable wall, they protected the Sun family and helped Sun Wuhan rise to become the most powerful man in Qinma City, eventually earning the rightful title of City Lord. Setting aside everything else, Yushin had to admit he did admire the man. But standing on opposing sides, they were destined to never be friends. Yushin stood atop a mooring post, gazing at the nearly deserted dock, where only a few merchant ships remained. He let out a quiet sigh. "Boss, the letter has been sent. I believe it won't be long before Sun Wuhan makes his move. All right, go ahead and get things ready. One way or another, I'll have to meet him face to face. This confrontation is inevitable." But despite his words, there was no certainty in his expression. He looked weary and then added, "By the way, how's Miss Sun doing? It's been a full day and night. Is that spoiled young lady still throwing a tantrum?" "Nope. After Monkey gave her a good scare, she's been much more obedient. She didn't even complain when we took the hairpin from her head." Dan Lei, a large, honest-looking man, chuckled as he spoke. "Good. Monkey can be a little rash. You'll have to keep an eye on him. Make sure nothing goes wrong." "Got it, boss," Dan Lei replied. Then, after a brief hesitation, he asked, "Boss, do you think Sun Wuhan will agree to our terms?" Yushin didn't respond. He just stared at the calm waters of the Qingshui River, lost in thought. Dan Lei scratched his head, wondering if he'd said something wrong. Just as he was about to say something to smooth things over, a gentle and melodious voice came from behind. "Brother, Big Lei, come have some pastries." "Hey, Year, you're here." Dan Lei turned around and saw a lively, pretty young girl approaching with a bamboo basket on her arm. Her long, black hair was tied to the side with a blue ribbon. He quickly walked over and picked the largest pastry from her basket, taking a big bite and mumbling through a mouthful, "Auntie's pastries are the best. Even better than the ones at Gourmet Pavilion." "Stop with the flattery," Year chided playfully, then walked over to Yushin and offered him a golden, flaky pastry. "Brother, you have one too. In the past, when Mother made these, we could never make enough. But now," Yushin glanced at the desolate wharf and quietly returned the pastry to the basket. "Brother, I know you're worried about the wharf, but some problems can't be solved by brooding. A day spent in sorrow is still a day lost. Just do your best and let things unfold as they may." "You wouldn't understand," Yushin sighed, gently patting her head. "Go ahead and share the pastries with everyone." "All right. Don't worry, brother, things will work out." Year nodded sweetly, then carried the basket down the pier toward the cargo yard. "Everyone, take a break. Miss Years brought pastries for you all," called Uncle Zhao, the dock foreman, clapping his hands to gather the laborers who had been working hard. They wiped their brows and gathered around Year, who began handing out pastries with a warm smile. When she came to a frail-looking young worker, she paused in surprise and asked, "You look unfamiliar. Are you new here?" "Yeah, the kid wandered in last night and fainted from hunger. I took him in as a dockhand," Uncle Zhao replied kindly. "What's your name?" Year asked, curious, studying the boy's delicate features and the unusual chill in his eyes. "His name's Xiao Ran. Doesn't talk much," Uncle Zhao answered for him. "Xiao Ran? Where are you from? What about your parents?" Year pressed gently. Ipian Ran sighed inwardly. She hadn't planned to interact with this unexpectedly enthusiastic girl, but it seemed Year had taken a liking to her. That's right, this Xiao Ran was none other than Ipian Ran in disguise, dressed as a boy. She had originally infiltrated the wharf to rescue Sun Mengmeng, but after a day and night, she found herself hesitating. The people working here all came from poverty, many were orphans taken in by Yushin. And there weren't strict hierarchies at the wharf. Everyone worked together, like a family. They deeply respected Yushin and his family, for without him, none of them would have survived this long. Pian Ran had once imagined what kidnappers would be like, vicious, ruthless, and cruel. But what she saw in Yushin was helplessness and quiet despair. That wasn't how a kidnapper should look. She began to believe that Yushin must have had no other choice. Originally, she could have rescued Sun Mengmeng and left without a second thought. But last night, when the perfect opportunity arose, she stayed. She wanted to be sure. And now she was. She understood why Yushin had seemed strange from the moment she saw him, because his goal was the same as those two men who had tried to flee, simply survival. But he didn't realize that his carefully laid plans had already been seen through. Worse, Sun Wuhan might already be planning to wipe them all out in one fell swoop. But what did any of this have to do with her? If she rescued Sun Mengmeng, Yushin's plan would fail, and Sun Wuhan, regardless, wouldn't spare Qingshui Wharf. Everything here was doomed to collapse. Perhaps, rescuing Sun Mengmeng had been a mistake. The ending was already written. Whether the kidnapping happened or not, Qingshui Wharf would be erased from the map. So what was the point of her being here? No matter the world, she was always the one abandoned. But maybe, just maybe, this time she could rewrite the ending. She had longed for peace, but didn't want to live her life without a trace. The feeling of being forgotten was unbearable. Maybe, if she did something meaningful, the emptiness in her heart would ease. And more than that, this place reminded her of her childhood, the days when Yunkai was still by her side, warm, peaceful, and gentle. The memory hit her unexpectedly, and she realized she didn't want to let it go. So for that, she decided to meddle, just once. After all, it would cost her almost nothing. "Xiao Ran? Xiao Ran?" Seeing her dazed, Uncle Zhao nudged her. "Miss Year's talking to you. What are you daydreaming about?" "Ah, nothing," Pian Ran blinked and replied. "What did you say? Nothing?" Year widened her eyes in surprise. "Yes. No home, no parents. I'm an orphan," Pian Ran replied flatly. "Oh, that's really sad," Year said softly, looking at her with sympathy. Then she handed her 2 more pastries from the basket. "But don't worry. Now that you're at Qingshui Wharf, you won't go hungry again. Here, take 2 more. Pianren glanced at her and accepted the pastries silently, offering no thanks. But Year didn't mind. She went on cheerfully, everyone here at Qingshui Wharf is kind. Uncle Zhao is warm and friendly, Big Lei is simple and honest, and Monkey, though hot-tempered, is the most loyal of them all. And my brother, don't be fooled by his serious face. He's got the softest heart. You'll feel right at home here, I promise. Oh, is that so? But I've heard that ever since Sun Wuhan monopolized the waterway trade, Qingshui Wharf has suffered greatly, Pianren said casually. Year's eyes dimmed for a second, but she quickly smiled again. That's all right. We don't fight others for profit. Surely he won't go so far as to wipe us out, right? Besides, my brother will find a way to stop that from happening. Clearly, she was just like Sun Mingming, protected, naive, and unaware of how dire things truly were. They never considered how severe this could get. This wasn't just a struggle between 2 men, nor mere competition in business. It was a cycle of history, where there were no heroes or villains, only survivors and the forgotten. And those who lost would vanish from the pages of time, taking with them countless innocent lives. These delicate flowers had no way of understanding. And if Pianren didn't intervene, this nightmare would soon become reality. Yes, Pianren said softly, let's hope none of that happens. But Year would never understand. The one who could change all of this wasn't Yushin, nor Sun Wuhan. It was her, a stranger who was never supposed to be part of this story. Chapter 27, Words That Bring Calamity, an invitation to the Honorable Lord Sun Wuhan, City Master of Qianma, to meet at Loya Slope in Qingshui Town at dusk tomorrow. Sincerely, Yushin of Qingshui Wharf. A letter and an exquisitely crafted hairpin were delivered to Sun Wuhan's hands. He held the hairpin between his fingers, his expression shifting subtly. Beside him, Lu Yuan slammed the letter down on the table and cried out angrily, so it was him who kidnapped Mingming. Yes, I didn't expect it either, Sun Wuhan replied coolly, setting the hairpin aside. That Yushin, has he lost his mind? How dare he lay a hand on Mingming? If it weren't for your mercy, that little wharf of his would have been gone long ago. And now he repays kindness with betrayal? Truly despicable. Perhaps he thinks I'm too lenient, Sun Wuhan said with a faint smile that did not reach his eyes, which shimmered with cold light. But what should we do now, Wuhan? Mingming is in his hands. We can't act rashly, Lu Yuan exclaimed, her anxiety making her lose her usual composure. Yuan, return to the Lu residence for now. I have my own plans for rescuing Mingming, Sun Wuhan said, glancing at her calmly. What? No! I can't rest easy if Mingming hasn't come back. Let me go with you, Wuhan. Please? As she stood up and clutched his arm, Sun Wuhan gently pushed her back into her seat. Yuan, it's not that I don't want you to come, but Yushin of Qingshui Wharf is not someone easily dealt with. They've already used Mingming to threaten me. If you get hurt too, who should I protect first? For your own safety, it's best that you stay at the Lu residence. Touched by his concern, Yuan's heart fluttered. She looked at him with softened eyes and said sweetly, with you there, what is there to be afraid of? Sun Wuhan offered a faint, bitter smile. Yuan, surely you don't want to put me in an impossible position? Flushing slightly, Yuan realized she was pushing too far. She nodded and said obediently, all right, I understand. I'll do as you say, but you must be careful. I will. Shall I have someone escort you home? No need. I'll take the Lu family carriage. You go arrange the rescue. Very well. As Lu Yuan departed, Sun Wuhan's expression cooled once more. He called out, attend me. 2 guards in blue entered immediately and bowed. Pass the order. Select 20 Blucloaks to accompany me to Qingshui Town. Yes, sir. Yushin, this time, you won't escape my grasp. A confident smile tugged at Sun Wuhan's lips as he slowly clenched his hand into a fist. Night fell over Qingshui Wharf. Most of the workers had returned to their homes in Qingshui Town, just a mile or 2 away and 10 miles beyond Qianma City. Year was about to leave for town as well, but she was stopped by Yi Pianren. Miss Year, may I have a word? She asked. Year walked over, puzzled. What is it, Brother Xiaoran? Pianren said nothing, simply giving her a look before turning to walk toward a secluded spot. Curious, Year followed. It was a long while before she emerged again, head lowered in silence. Hey, Year, why are you still here? It's getting late. Want me to walk you home? Monkey had just returned with a wine jug and a paper-wrapped bundle in hand. Catching sight of Year's troubled face, he strode over. Brother Monkey, Year greeted faintly, then continued walking without another word. Hey, what's wrong? Did someone upset you? Just tell me. I'll handle it. Monkey grabbed her arm, frowning deeply. Year was never this withdrawn. She looked at him with a complicated expression but eventually shook her head. It's nothing. Come on, Year, what is it? Why are you being so cagey? Can't you tell me? Monkey wouldn't let go. I really am fine. What's that? Drunken fragrant chicken? Who's it for? She quickly changed the subject, pointing to the paper-wrapped bundle in his hand. Oh, this? Monkey scratched his head sheepishly. Just tired of the usual food at the dock, so I treated myself a little. I see. Well, don't drink too much. I'm heading back now. See you tomorrow. Year gave him one last look, then walked away with her bamboo basket. Monkey watched her leave, then turned and made his way toward the warehouse. Your dinner, princess, he said sarcastically, tossing the chicken to Sun Mingming before slumping down against a pile of cargo and gulping wine. He couldn't understand what the boss was thinking. Why go so soft on Sun Mingming? Monkey thought they should have held a blade to her neck and forced Sun Wuhan to surrender. But the moment he suggested it, he got scolded. Was Sun Wuhan really so fearsome? He had seen the man once, handsome, yes, but with that gentle, almost harmless appearance, how dangerous could he be? Yet the boss had forbidden him from taking any reckless action, and now even the spoiled girl was bossing him around. He had to personally go to Gourmet Pavilion to buy her food, damn it, what a humiliation. 5 taels of silver for 1 chicken. He could barely afford cheap liquor, let alone delicacies. The more he thought about it, the more furious he became. As he chugged the wine, his eyes turned bloodshot. Watching Sun Mingming daintily nibble on her chicken leg made his rage boil over. Damn it! If not for Sun Wuhan, Qingshui Wharf wouldn't be in this sorry state. Everyone's lives wouldn't be so miserable. Sun Mingming nibbled timidly, but her nerves were fraying. Why was this scrawny brute staring at her like that, as if he wanted to devour her alive? Her heart thudded in her chest. She couldn't eat anymore. She dropped the chicken after only a few bites, but just as she put it down, Monkey shot her another venomous glare. Flustered, she hesitantly lifted the chicken leg and stammered, do you want to eat it? She shouldn't have said that. Monkey shot to his feet. With a flick of his arm, the wine jug crashed to the floor. He stared at her with burning eyes. Don't you dare act like you're doing me a favor. Startled, Sun Mingming stumbled back several steps, clutching her chest. I meant well. I can't finish it anyway, and it is a famous dish. You probably can't afford it often, right? Bullshit. Monkey roared. Even if I can't afford it, I'd never eat your leftovers. His fury was volcanic. How dare this pampered brat look down on him like that? What are you trying to do? Sun Mingming's voice trembled as she saw his clenched fists, bulging veins, and bloodshot eyes. What do you think I'm doing? Monkey growled. I've had enough of your arrogance. A pampered heiress who'd never known hardship. What did she know of suffering? And yet here she was, flaunting her privilege in front of him. He had never endured such humiliation in his life. His fist rose high in the air, but just before it came down, he remembered Yushin's warning, do not harm Sun Mingming. He gasped for breath, trying to suppress the storm in his chest. He couldn't touch her. If anything happened to her, everyone at Qingshui Wharf would pay the price. You, don't do anything crazy. If something happens to me, my brother will make sure Qingshui Wharf pays with blood. Her words, meant as a threat, only fanned the fire already burning within him. Great. Let's see who gets there first, your brother or your funeral. With a furious bellow, he lunged forward, grabbing her arm like a vice and throwing her aside. She stumbled and crashed to the ground. The rough floor scraped a large patch of skin from her elbow, blood beginning to seep through. Crying out in pain, she clutched her wound and tried to get up, only to see Monkey striding toward her. Panicking, she rolled aside, but her head struck the bedpost, and the cracked wood snagged her hair, leaving her disheveled and breathless. Clenching her teeth, her face pale as paper, she stared at him in disbelief. Had she really said something so wrong? Why did Monkey suddenly seem possessed, like a demon awakened? At that moment, something flashed through her mind, a revelation, perhaps, but in her fear and confusion, she couldn't grasp it. Chapter 28, Confrontation at Luoya Slope. A palm, broad as a fan, was about to strike her, but before it landed, 2 sharp sounds echoed through the air, crack, and thud. The pain she anticipated never came. Sun Mingming opened her eyes to find a beautiful girl standing before her, her long black hair tied to the side with a blue silk ribbon. In the girl's hand was a wooden staff as thick as an arm. The fierce and imposing Monkey now lay collapsed on the ground, unconscious. Who are you? Sun Mingming asked, still reeling from fear. Come quickly. The girl didn't offer any explanation. She rushed forward, grabbed Mingming's hand, and led her away from the Qingshui Wharf, weaving through the darkness. By now, night had fully fallen. Under the faint glow of the moon, the surroundings appeared hazy and unclear, but the girl seemed familiar with every path, not pausing for even a moment. Wait. Sun Mingming gasped, her breath ragged. I can't run anymore. The girl halted, glancing back with concern. That strike earlier might have knocked Monkey out, but it wouldn't keep him down for long. Once he came to, he would surely give chase, and if he caught them, things could get dangerous. Just a little farther. If he catches up, we'll be in trouble, the girl urged gently. Her voice was soft and delicate, but it couldn't conceal the unease she felt. I really can't. Who are you? Did Sister Pianran send you? Where are we going? Sun Mingming doubled over, panting heavily. To Luoya Slope. You'll be safe once we get there, the girl said, pulling at her arm anxiously. Ow! Mingming cried out in pain. The girl quickly let go, only to find her hand stained with blood. You're hurt? She whispered. Yeah, I scraped it when I fell earlier. Sun Mingming bit her lip, doing her best to endure the pain. I'm so sorry. The girl's heart filled with guilt as she saw the patch of blood on Mingming's elbow. This mysterious girl was, in fact, Yu Yi. After discovering what her brother had done, she had struggled long and hard before finally deciding to set Mingming free. She had quietly returned, just in time to witness Monkey lashing out at Mingming. If she had been a moment later, who knew what might have happened, she had never seen Monkey so furious, and at that moment, she realized the Qingshui Wharf was in serious trouble. The Yu family had run the wharf for 3 generations. Her brother valued it, and the people who worked there, more than his own life. But this time, he had clearly reached the end of his rope. Otherwise, he would never have taken such a desperate measure. Yet even so, taking an innocent girl hostage felt wrong to her. Raised on family teachings of honor and integrity, Yi couldn't accept it. She had to let Sun Mingming go, even if it meant dragging the entire Qingshui Wharf down with her. Why are you apologizing? It's not your fault, Mingming said, puzzled by her reaction. Yi didn't respond. She helped Mingming sit on a nearby stone, then took out a white silk handkerchief and gently wrapped her injured elbow. Who are you, really? Mingming tilted her head curiously. Now that she was no longer in immediate danger, her playful curiosity returned. But Yi only shook her head, let her rest for a moment, and soon urged her to get up again and keep moving toward Luoya Slope. At Luoya Slope, torchlight dotted the hillside like fallen stars. 2 opposing forces stood locked in a standoff. One group wore plain short tunics, clearly dock workers. The other was led by a strikingly handsome young man dressed in a sky blue silk robe. Behind him stood over a dozen guards in deep blue, each like a human wall, unshakable, impenetrable. I'm afraid I cannot accept your terms, said Sun Wuhan, his blue robe glimmering faintly in the moonlight. His posture was poised, elegant, but the cold smirk on his lips sent a chill through those who saw it. City Master Sun, said Yushin, his voice tinged with bitterness and helplessness, since you established Lushangxing, waterway shipping in the martial world has fallen entirely into your hands. Can't you show some mercy and spare Qingshui Wharf? His words carried not not just frustration, but something close to pleading, a rare humiliation for a man like him. You flatter me, Sun Wuhan said with a half-smile. Lu Shangxing has existed for only a few short years. Compared to the century-long legacy of Qingshui Wharf, we're barely a fledgling. You asking me to show mercy, surely, that's a jest? His mocking tone made the dockworkers grind their teeth in silent rage, but none dared speak out. This was Sun Wuhan. Not only was he a man of brilliant mind, but the guards behind him alone could probably take down all of them without breaking a sweat. And he hadn't even shown his full strength yet. Yushin frowned. Sun Wuhan was clearly playing games with words, evading him with veiled mockery. But Sun Wuhan wasn't the type to waste time idly. So what was he planning? The more he thought about it, the more uneasy he became. Finally, he steeled himself and spoke plainly. City Master Sun, forgive my boldness, but I must once again urge you to reconsider my offer. Not just for Qingshui Wharf, but for the sake of Miss Sun. Oh, Sun Wuhan arched an eyebrow, seemingly amused. My own sister is naturally my responsibility. Why trouble yourself with such concern? His calm, even tone sent a shiver through Yushin's heart. Why was he so unconcerned about Mingming's safety? Unless… No! A chill ran down his spine. Had Sun Wuhan already known that Mingming had been kidnapped? Was this whole meeting just a distraction? If so, then someone had already gone to rescue her. Worse yet, perhaps they'd already succeeded. This was bad, very bad. Despite all his planning, had he walked straight into Sun Wuhan's trap? Still think I don't know about you taking Mingming? Sun Wuhan's lips curved in a mocking smile. You knew, all along? Yushin glared at him in disbelief. Then why? Sun Wuhan took 2 casual steps forward. Let's just call the Mingming incident a minor detour. I won't dwell on it. But now, shall we discuss the dissolution of Qingshui Wharf? You really planned all of this, to use this chance to wipe us out? Yushin's face darkened. Around him, his men slowly realized the truth. They had never been in control. They'd been led right into a snare from the beginning. In that moment, there was only one thought in their minds. Sun Wuhan is terrifying. City Master Sun, must you really destroy Qingshui Wharf? Yushin's voice grew sharp with anger. He had humbled himself to the ground, yet it hadn't bought even the smallest concession. Destroy? Sun Wuhan chuckled. If you insist on seeing it that way, so be it. One must dismantle the old to build the new. The fall of Qingshui Wharf will mark the rise of another port. I don't ask for much. Just let the dock workers go. Let them survive. Yushin nearly begged. The men behind him clenched their fists. At this moment, their fate rested in the hands of a man who looked like a refined noble, but whose heart was colder than steel. Sun Wuhan fell silent for a long time. Then, slowly, he shook his head. It wasn't that he wanted to drive them to ruin, but his plan left no room for sentiment. These people had never been a part of it. Yushin's face turned ashen. It was over. There was no turning back. Qingshui Wharf was finished, and those who had spent years working on its planks and piers could only watch as their world began to collapse. Chapter 29. A sudden turn of events. Just as the standoff was reaching a tense stalemate, a blue-robed guard pushed through the perimeter and approached Sun Wuhan, whispering something in his ear. What did you say? Sun Wuhan's voice was low and calm, so calm it was terrifying. We reached the warehouse at Qingshui Wharf, but the young lady was nowhere to be found. We only discovered this. The guard pulled something from his sleeve and presented it. A single lock of hair. Sun Wuhan took the strands in hand. A chilling glint flashed through his eyes. He slowly turned to face Yushin, whose heart instantly tightened. He, too, had seen that soft, dark lock, and any fool could see it belonged to a woman. Could Monkey have done something to Sun Mingming? Damn it! That reckless brute. He'd warned him repeatedly. How could this still happen? Yushin felt his scalp go numb. Things had just taken a turn for the worse. So this is what it means to burn the boats, Sun Wuhan said softly, voice calm as still water, yet carrying hidden thunder. All this, for a mere girl? Yushin let out a bitter laugh. There was no clearing his name now, not even if he leapt into the Yellow River. Sun Wuhan, this must be a misunderstanding. I never intended to hurt your sister. A misunderstanding? Sun Wuhan's voice was like ice. Then tell me, where is Mingming? I don't know. Yushin faltered. How could he possibly know where she'd gone? Wonderful, Sun Wuhan sneered. It was rare for him to be caught off guard, but this time, he had indeed been outplayed, by Yushin, of all people. Since you've shown me such sincerity, it would be rude not to return the favor. He raised a hand. At once, a man, bound hand and foot, was dragged into the clearing by the guards. Monkey! Shanlei, standing behind Yushin, immediately shouted in recognition. Yushin clenched his fists but said nothing. Monkey, shoved to the ground, landed face first in the dirt. He spat mud from his mouth and cursed. Sun Wuhan, if you've got guts, kill me head on. What kind of coward attacks from the shadows? You think you deserve that honor? Sun Wuhan narrowed his eyes. Immediately, a guard stepped forward and stomped on Monkey's face. Wait! Yushin rushed forward. Monkey may be reckless, but he would never disobey my orders. Let me question him first, please. Sun Wuhan looked at him for a moment, expression unreadable. But the guard stepped down again, this time even harder. Sun Wuhan. Yushin was truly panicked now. He hadn't even moved when 5 or 6 Qingyin guards closed in, surrounding him. He gritted his teeth, trying to keep his composure. If Monkey is the only one who knows what happened, killing him now will only make things worse. You'll never find your sister. That made Sun Wuhan pause. With a wave of his hand, the guard stepped back. Yushin hurried over and helped Monkey up. The man's face was bruised and swollen, mouth full of blood, but he didn't care. He only asked urgently, Monkey, what happened? I told you to watch over Miss Sun. Where is she? I was knocked out. When I woke up, she was gone. I wanted to go look for help, but then they rushed in and caught me, Monkey muttered through cracked lips. Did you see who took her? Monkey shook his head, dazed. Didn't they take her? Yushin's heart sank. No. Then who? Monkey looked completely bewildered. A mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind, Sun Wuhan said coldly. Yushin, if anything has happened to my sister, the entire Qingshui Wharf will go down with her. His words were blades to Yushin's chest. He trembled, wanting to speak, but no words would come. Go down with her, Monkey repeated, dazed. Suddenly, something clicked clicked in his mind. Wait, it was a woman. Every head turned toward him in an instant. A woman? Yushin asked sharply. Monkey, what do you remember? The one who knocked me out the first time was a woman. The blow wasn't too strong, I was only dazed for a bit. Just as I was getting up, I was struck again. But I remember, she had a faint scent on her. Sweet. Monkey frowned, piecing the memory together. A woman? Sun Woohan echoed, and an image flashed through his mind. Jin Wushu had mentioned a suspicious girl who'd once appeared at Qingshui Wharf. Could it be her? Monkey, what kind of woman? Are you sure? Yushin pressed. I never saw her face. But, something told me it was a woman, Monkey said with a defeated shake of his head. Ah, so you had a backup plan all along? Sun Woohan said coolly. Sun City Lord, please believe me. I didn't know anything about this woman. All of this is completely unexpected. Yushin was nearly pleading. Oh, then where is my sister? Sun Woohan's voice turned sharper. I truly don't know. Yushin lowered his head in defeat. Anger surged in Sun Woohan's chest. He had nearly channeled all that fury toward Yushin until, Big Brother, a petite figure burst through the crowd and threw herself into his arms. Meng Meng? Sun Woohan's voice cracked with relief. He wrapped his arms around her, then quickly pulled back to inspect her. What he saw made his expression darken again. You're hurt? He lifted her right elbow, bloodied and scraped, his eyes turning icy as they shot toward Yushin. Who did this to you? The question was for Meng Meng, but the blade was aimed at Yushin. Yushin stepped forward to explain, but Monkey beat him to it. I did it. Come at me. Monkey. Yushin paled as Sun Woohan's piercing glare landed squarely on Monkey. Sun Woohan gave a cold laugh. Bold. But I wonder, can you survive it? He gave a signal. A guard stepped forward, unbinding Monkey and dragged him to stand before Sun Woohan. Yushin tried to follow, but was restrained by two Qingyin guards. Survive? Ha. Monkey let out a bitter laugh. You take the wharf, and you take our lives. If home is gone, what's left to live for? His words were filled with sorrow and defiance. Even Sun Mengmeng, watching this bloodied, twisted-faced man laugh so bleakly, felt a strange emotion well up in her chest. Sun Woohan's gaze sharpened. You hurt my sister. Your life is forfeit. But, I'll give you a chance. He gestured again. Two swords were brought forward. Sun Woohan drew one and tossed the other to Monkey. If you can defeat me, I'll spare you. Monkey caught the sword, teeth gritted. He charged forward without hesitation. He knew he was no match. Everyone had heard of Sun Woohan, scholar, warrior, strategist, one of the top 10 fighters in the martial world. Monkey was just a lowly dockhand, but he would not die without a fight. Sun Woohan's sword moved like a living creature, fluid, elegant, deadly. Within moments, Monkey was driven back. Despite his fury, Monkey saw the truth. He couldn't last even a dozen strikes. Not against this man. Not in strength, not in mind. After a dozen moves, he suddenly tossed his sword aside, closed his eyes, and stood tall, awaiting death in silence. Sun Woohan's eyes flickered with interest. His sword didn't stop. He thrust it straight toward Monkey's chest. Chapter 30. Defeat. City Lord Sun, show mercy. Ah, a shout. A scream. Sun Woohan furrowed his brow and halted his strike. The sword's tip had just grazed Monkey's clothing and skin. He could clearly see the man's body tremble violently, cold sweat rolling down his forehead. So this is all he's got? He ignored Monkey and turned toward Sun Mengmeng, who had her hands over her face. Mengmeng, what is it? Peeking timidly through her fingers, she whispered. Don't kill him. I'm scared of blood. Just close your eyes. He hurt you. How can I let him off so easily? Then punish him another way, she blurted. She didn't know why, but she didn't want her brother to kill someone because of her. Another way? Sun Woohan lowered his eyes in thought. Then tell me, how should I punish him? Mengmeng looked left, then right. She hadn't actually thought this far, but afraid her brother might go back on his word. Inspiration struck and she cried out, have him buy me drunken crispy chicken as punishment. Sun Woohan almost laughed out loud. This girl still thinks about food right now, but since Mengmeng had spoken, he wasn't truly intent on killing the man. With a twist of his wrist, he sheathed his sword. You're lucky. Mengmeng pleaded for you. I'll spare your life, for now. His tone turned cold again as he looked at Monkey. I refuse. Monkey shouted, his face flushed red. If you're going to kill me, do it. I'm a man. I won't be ordered around by a brat. Monkey. A moment's patience avoids greater chaos. Yushin was fuming at this act of false bravado. Monkey wanted to shout something grand, but the fear from earlier still lingered. His courage had long fled. Especially when he caught the cold, mocking look in Sun Woohan's eyes, he felt like nothing more than a ridiculous clown. Mengmeng's matter ends here, Sun Woohan said coolly, hands clasped behind his back. I won't pursue it further. But 3 days from now, I'll return to take over Qingshui Wharf. Whether you leave voluntarily or I make you, Yushin, think carefully. Silence. Yushin didn't respond. Sun Woohan no longer pressed him. Instead, he turned to Mengmeng, gently smoothing her disheveled hair. A fond smile curved his lips. Little girl, did you suffer much? Not really. I was just a bit scared. Mengmeng stuck out her tongue playfully. You? Scared? With how fierce you are. Sun Woohan tapped her forehead lightly. Then he asked, what happened? Why didn't my men find you? And how did you know I was here? Someone saved me. Oh. Sun Woohan's expression sharpened. Who? I don't know. I asked her, but she wouldn't tell me. She just brought me here, then left. She left? Sun Woohan frowned slightly. Big brother, help me find her, okay? I didn't get to thank her properly. Look, she even helped bandage my arm. She lifted her elbow, showing the white silk handkerchief. I'll find her for you. Sun Woohan eyed the delicate silk, a trace of doubt flickering in his heart. Let's go home. A hot bath and good sleep will do you good. Okay. Mengmeng nodded obediently and followed him away. City Lord Sun, Yushin called out. Sun Woohan turned his head slightly. What? Still struggling to accept it? Won't you consider my offer? Yushin made a final plea. Sun Woohan gave him a cold smile and said as he passed, Yushin, I'm disappointed. I once thought you were a man of potential, but your actions have proven I overestimated you. Qingshui Wharf didn't fall because I monopolized the water routes, it fell because you lacked the strength to keep it afloat. Even without me, its demise was inevitable. He pulled out a few sheets of paper from his sleeve and handed them over. Yushin took them and immediately turned pale. Sun Woohin glanced back once more, then walked off. 3 days from now, I expect you to remove the signboard yourself. Consider it the last shred of respect I can offer you. His voice faded into the night. Yushin trembled, his fingers tightening around the papers. Boss, what's going on? Shanlei stepped up, confused. He took the documents and froze. These are the property transfer deeds of Qingshui Wharf. Everything had already been in Sun Woohin's hands, and Yushin, fool that he was, still believed he had bargaining power. What a joke! Sun Woohin had been right. Even without him, Qingshui Wharf would have been erased. Yushin had simply lost the ability to hold it up. Back at Qingshui Wharf, Yushin locked himself inside. Everyone else had been dismissed, leaving only Shanlei and Monkey sitting dejectedly outside. Brother Lei, brother Monkey. Yi appeared quietly. Both men looked at her in surprise. Yi, what are you doing here? Yes, it's so late. Why? Yi didn't answer. Is my brother inside? Monkey nodded, about to reply, when she asked softly, Brother Monkey, are you alright? You took a blow and some kicks. Are you hurt? I'm fine. Just a few scrapes. Monkey's face was still swollen, but he scratched his head with a sheepish grin. Compared to Sun Woohin's kicks, that stick earlier felt like child's play. That's good. Her voice was faint. She looked toward the light inside the room. I'm going in. Before they could reply, she slipped through the door. Monkey, did she seem strange to you? Shanlei stroked his chin thoughtfully. Strange? What do you mean? Monkey blinked, confused. Does anyone else know how you got knocked out? No. Why? It only just happened. No one's had time to spread the news. Then how did Yi know? Inside, Yushin sat alone beneath the lamplight, lost in thought. Brother. Yi entered softly. Yushin looked up, surprised. Yi, why are you still here? But then Yi knelt down, tears welling in her eyes. Brother, I've done wrong. I betrayed you all. Yushin quickly stood. Yi, what are you doing? It was me. I let Sun Mengmeng go. I knocked out Brother Monkey, and I brought her to Falling Leaves Hill. To Lord Sun. Her voice choked. Scold me, hit me. I've doomed Qingshui Wharf. You, what? Yushin stared in disbelief. How could his quiet, gentle sister have done all that? It's all my fault. I didn't know he would treat Qingshui Wharf like this. I've shamed our family. Tears spilled freely down her cheeks. Yushin sighed, gently lifting her up and wiping her face. It's not your fault, it's mine. I was too weak to protect Qingshui Wharf, and you. No, I betrayed you, but I just didn't want you to do something you'd regret. I didn't know it would anger him so. Don't cry anymore, he said, guiding her to a chair. It's truly not your fault. What Sun Woohin said was right. I was wrong to kidnap his sister in the first place. You did the right thing letting her go. She was innocent. We should never have dragged her into this. In business, you win or lose. If I lose my integrity as well, that would be true defeat. But what will happen to Qingshui Wharf? Yi looked up, eyes full of tears. When she'd acted, she hadn't thought about the consequences, about the dozens of families who relied on the wharf. Now the weight of it crushed her with guilt. Should I beg Miss Sun for mercy? No. This is already the best outcome. Don't beg her. The only thing our family has left is dignity. Sun Woohin gave us 3 days. Tomorrow, we'll begin packing. He gently caressed her cheek and sighed. This little sister is still too innocent. Brother, Yuya's voice broke, but in the end, she simply nodded.